Hey there, internet friends. Trevor Starkey here with my impressions on the Ubisoft conference that just wrapped up. Overall, I thought this was a very sincere and heartfelt conference. I missed Aisha Tyler there, kind of, and her hosting presence, but we had a lot of sweet moments in this one. You had Miyamoto coming out and giving praise to the creative director of Rabbids, and you being able to very visually see how much that meant to that gentleman, and like seeing the tears in his eyes kind of welling up on this legend, this icon in the industry, kind of giving this man praise was very touching. You had the Beyond Good and Evil 2 guy, Michel Ancel, I believe, coming out and tearing up at his vision finally becoming a reality after 15 years. So yeah, it came across as just a very sincere show overall. So as always, let's go through my predictions that I've made for this one. Number one, we had that there would be the opening sequence of Far Cry 5 shown off, a la the Pagan Min introduction that we got a few years ago. Didn't get that. We did get some Far Cry, but they chose to focus on a little Amazing Grace trailer, as well as the gameplay that they showed off really highlighted all of the different guns for hire type figures you can buy, and the co-op in the game, and the standout, of course, that the internet has fallen in love with was Boomer, the Fang for Hire, the dog that can play fetch with guns. So, yay, Boomer. Number two, I predicted South Park Fractured But Whole would show off some more of its character classes in a trailer, and I think I also, in the video predictions, I think I threw in that we'd get Matt and Trey coming out and kind of cracking jokes about the delays. Didn't get any of that. Trailer just seemed kind of standard fare, showing off a little bit more of the story and a couple more jokes and stuff. The more interesting piece is that later on we got that South Park is also coming to mobile with Cowboys versus Indians, or Native Americans, or Buccaneers, or Ghosts, or I don't know. There are a whole bunch of things that Cowboys will be facing off with on your phones in the South Park Phone Destroyer game coming out later this year. Supposedly coming out later this year, until it gets delayed. Prediction number three was the new Assassin's Creed game would be shown off, and it would be set in Egypt, as has long been rumored. Again, I made these predictions a couple weeks ago, so all of the leaks that started happening after the fact are less relevant. I did make the prediction that we would see the assassin perched atop a sphinx, which I don't think we saw in the trailer that they showed off here, but it is the Game Informer cover that has leaked for next month, so I'm counting that one at least as like a half point. Number four, and the one I got like completely spot on, was that a lot of stage time would be dedicated to the Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle partnership, including an appearance by Miyamoto. That's exactly what we got. Miyamoto came out, they spent 15 minutes on this game, and surprisingly like won me over on it. This is a game that I saw and groaned, as I think a lot of people on the internet did. And then the trailer that they showed off here, showing that it's a tactical RPG XCOM-esque type game, I was like, oh crap, I actually might want to play this. I'll probably have to play it on mute because of how annoying those characters are, and I don't want to deal with that, but the gameplay actually looks pretty solid. So that impressed me to kick off the conference as a game that went from me not interested at all, in fact vehemently against playing it, to actually winning me over. And that's, I think, one of the things that E3 can do that we can't do in a lot of other settings. And then number five was that we would get a new IP announcement to close out the conference. There were a couple new IPs announced in there, namely the big one that's going to be like Toy to Life with, what is it called, Starlink Battle for Atlantis, where you can buy elements of your ships and build new spaceships in that game. But what closed out the conference was Beyond Good and Evil 2 coming out. I have no knowledge nor affinity of the original. It's just kind of one of those games that I know in the ether of the industry is like a critical darling and a lot of people love, but I never played it myself. Don't even really know much about it. So the trailer looked cool. There's a lot of Fifth Element vibe to it that had me excited and intrigued before I knew what Beyond Good and Evil was. So we'll see. It'll be an interesting one when it finally comes out. So what else did we have in the conference? The Crew 2 looked pretty cool. The trailer they showed really had kind of like literally worlds colliding, and you had, the cityscape kind of folding in on a desert scape. Interesting stuff, not my kind of game, but if it were my kind of game, that's the kind of game I think I would gravitate towards and lean towards. We also had Elijah Wood coming in and partnering with Ubisoft for a VR game experience, something called Transference, coming out next year. That looked interesting and filled with creepy weirdness, so we'll see if I dive into that at all. Skull and Bones got announced, which is essentially the naval combat of Assassin's Creed Black Flag from a few years ago, finally making its way into its own game. I'm hoping there's a single player component to this because they really showed off PvP combat, and I'm not interested in going online and doing PvP naval combat. I would much rather just do naval combat against computers and AI and stuff, and not have to worry about people saying they want to have sex with my mother or whatever. Just Dance got a little medley of songs, none of which I'd heard of because I'm definitely old at this point. Then they announced the South Park Phone Destroyer game. Looks like it will have the irreverent humor of South Park in some kind of mobile battle system, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. We'll see how that plays out. Starlink Battle for Atlantis, I mentioned, dated for fall 2018. Looks like a space combat game, but with a Toys to Life element where you are basically using the toys that you buy and you can modify. Almost seems like a fee to win kind of thing, because if you can buy like stronger guns. Steep, which was the IP that got announced at the end of last year's show, is getting an expansion called Road to the Olympics in December. Giving more of that game if that's what you're into. Then we got, as I mentioned earlier, the extended look at Far Cry 5, focusing on the co-op elements as well as the guns for a hire component. So presumably like people you can pay in the game to come and be your ally for a mission or for an allotted period of time. And then, as I said, we closed out the show with Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's a pretty good show all around. I don't know where it'll fall in the overall rankings yet, but I felt like nothing really dragged on too long. It was a bit formulaic in terms of they would show a trailer for a game, someone would come out and talk about the game, then they'd show more of the game. But let me know what you thought about the Ubisoft conference in the comments below. As always, I've been your host, Trevor Starkey. You can follow me at Snarky Starkey, and you can read more of my E3 impressions all week on TrevorTrove.com. And until next time, from here at the Trove, treasure your friends.